Recording in progress.
Hello and welcome to the Human Rights Commission regular meeting. Today is Monday, March the 9th, and it is precisely 5:02 p.m. We're going to move on to the agenda items. I'm calling the meeting to order. Do we have quorum?
You have a quorum?
We have a quorum, excellent. I do not have any specific remarks, but welcome everyone to this meeting. Item 4 in the agenda is the acceptance of the agenda. Commissioners, do I have a motion to accept the agenda as it stands in front of us? So Commissioner Greer moves. So do I have a second? Commissioner Nevins, any further discussions? Let's take a vote on accepting the agenda as it stands in front of us. For those of you, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. So we have 5 votes to accept the agenda. Thank you.
Councilmember Gardner is joining us online.
Thank you. Welcome, Councilmember Gardner, to joining us remotely. Okay, we are going to move to item number 5, which is presentations, and we have none on the agenda. Item 6 in the agenda is the approval of meeting minutes. The minutes that took place for the meeting on February 9th, 2026. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes for February 9th? Commissioner Horn moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Vice Chair Soja. Any further discussion or comments on the minutes for February the 9th? Having heard none, I'm going to move to take a vote. Those of you who accept the minutes, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Minutes have been approved. Item number 7 in the agenda is public comments. It doesn't appear that we have public comments
There are
submitted.
no registered public comments.
Okay, so we move on to item number 8, which is reports, and we have no reports listed on the agenda. Moving on to discussion items, which is item number 9. We will begin with a presentation by Margaret Keung, who is the CEO and Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club. Margaret, welcome. Floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And hopefully you all received an outline of something I sent. I'm not planning to read through. Yay! I'm not planning to read through all of that. I just want to touch on some key points. I believe I have about 10 minutes with some Q&A at the end. If that's different, please let me know. Many of you, I see a lot of familiar faces, are, of course, advocates of the club. The club itself has been in place since 1948. We are located in the Sunrise Park. We are 100% self-funded. We own our building and we rent from the city at with the land at $1 per year. Teens pay $20 to be a part of our club, and the younger ones pay $40 to be a part of our club. We do not turn anybody away unless there are behavior issues. Scholarships are always available. Accessibility is important to us. We want to make sure that we follow our mission, which is to enable and to inspire all young people, especially those that need us most, to reach their full potential as adults and to be future leaders of our community. So that's ultimately our mission. What we do is we provide after school or out of school care. And many people tend to think that we're just childcare, but we're so much more than that. We have the obligation, and we are part of the Boys and Girls Club of America umbrella. So we actually have curriculums that we have to carry out. And these are all evidence-based programs that we also have metrics to make sure that we're following the right path in creating the best situation for our kids. As you know, with Palm Springs, I'll kind of jump into this. One of our biggest hurdle is the optics of Palm Springs. Many people do not realize that we have children in Palm Springs. We have children in poverty. We have unhoused children. But I think many people see us and they're like, okay, well, there's no kids in Palm Springs. There's no poverty in Palm Springs. Therefore, the club is just a recreational facility, right? And I think we would all agree that that is certainly not true. What I provided on this outline are some of the local realities. These are some of the stats that I pulled from the city as well as from the school district, where we show that, close to 97% of the kids are from households that are disadvantaged. They qualify for reduced or no cost, meal programs. Nearly 1 in 3 children in Coachella Valley lives below poverty line. 12% receive special education services. Large population of Hispanic, Latinos, and our club of 300 members mirror that same type of demographic. We actually have a collaboration with the local schools where we serve and we pick up and drop off some of the unhoused children from hotels, motels, wherever they may be. So what we do is so much more than childcare, right? Especially during the summer, we are that cooling center. When school's out, they have nowhere else to go. Parents cannot work without us. We also provide meals and snacks for them. We also see enrollment numbers climbing year after year as the uncertainty of the world that we live in today changes. Parents are having to go to work more. And so the growth continues. And what we did see last year too was a little, it was kind of devastating because we saw donor behavior shift in regards to where they were donating money. We saw the freeze on federal funding, which for us, it impacted us around $200,000 in pass-through funding that we were expecting and did not get until much later. So there's a lot of uncertainties. And what I want to bring to the table today is, really asking you all for your advocacy and your help in helping us spread the word. There are kids in Palm Springs. There is the need to help these kids in Palm Springs. And the fact that the club has been here for nearly 80 years is a symbol of what is needed, but not just what is, just there. What we've also seen is through the metrics that are provided to us by our Boys and Girls Club of America, that we're on the right track. Kids are finding that we are that second home. Many of them are graduating and going to secondary school because that's one of our challenges. They graduate and they end up helping their parents. We want them to go to secondary school. We opened a cannabis education prevention center, which is the first of its kind, even under Boys and Girls Club of America. But that's who we are because we're part of Palm Springs, right? Like nowhere else. So we have really stepped up in regards to what we need to provide to support the youth community. And the city of Palm Springs has been right there with us. So we really appreciate that. And I personally appreciate the opportunity, even being on this commission, doing the presentation today. Seeing the familiar faces, I did want to take a minute to just kind of talk a little bit about myself. I was born in Hong Kong, and moving here, I'm trying to think, I'm going to date myself a little bit. Our family immigrated here in the 70s, and we started the first Chinese restaurant. It was called Ah Sing's, which is now known as China King. This was way back when there was a Greyhound bus station here in Palm Springs. And what I want to say is that it was so hard growing up being different, right? I was bullied every day, didn't speak the language. So the Boys and Girls Club is very close and dear to my heart. From graduating from Palm Springs High School, I went to college in San Diego. And from San Diego, I pursued a career in banking, most of which were in private bank arena. So I was a banker for 30 years. And I have to say, after being in banking for 30 years, having big jobs, corner offices, downtown LA, this has been the most rewarding job because I see the differences firsthand, not only for the club, but also for the city as well. So I am very pleased to be exactly where I am. I don't know. With that, that's pretty much what I have. I had some pictures. I figured pictures are probably worth 1,000 words. So I took some snapshots of the club to show you what we actually offer. We have a pool. We have every season about 300 kids that go use our pool and we teach them water safety. We certify our own staff so that we have lifeguards in place as long as the club is open. We have collaboration with local businesses. They come in and do free haircuts, free backpacks. We make sure the kids are putting down their phones when they are here at the club, unless there's an emergency. We have different type of leagues. Sports is a big deal at the club, right? We have basketball, we have soccer, we have not pickleball yet. We're trying to do pickleball, but that's not very attractive to this group of kids. For some reason, because Andy sits on my board, or used to, and he was like, we need pickleball. It's like, you know what, Chief? I'm trying, but it's not working. So we have a lot of different activities here at the club. And I have to tell you, when I was living here in Palm Springs, I drove by this club a million times and never knew that it was here. And what I see now is the club being really an extension of this park. We talk about the parks not having a clear identity of the recreational value. Well, guess what? You've got the Boys and Girls Club. You've got the Youth Development Center that is for the youth of Palm Springs. You've got Massell Senior Center. We're all here, but I think we can all do a better job telling our story, and that's part of the reason why I'm here today.
That is wonderful. Commissioners, comments? Commissioner Greer.
Hi, Margaret. How are you?
Hello.
Nice to see you. Thanks for doing this. You and I know each other very well, and of course I know the Boys and Girls Club very well. But I've always wondered how do the kids get referred? Do they have to be Palm Springs residents? One is my first question.
They don't, because many of the families, the parents work here in Palm Springs.
Okay.
So they need to drop them off here in Palm Springs.
Oh, okay, so they may be from another town.
They could be from Cathedral City. One of the things that we're trying to do is there isn't a club anymore anyways in Desert Hot Springs. We have been talking with the community center over there and trying to bring our program by either vans or whatever. We're going to try to take it mobile and bring it over there so we don't have the brick and mortar overhead costs. So we're really trying to grow that way. And then now I've been training my staff, my managers, to go out to the various schools to really talk about the club. We are like the best kept secret.
Yes.
And so the other thing we're doing is we have a much better relationship. Tony Signoret, before he retired, we had a very good relationship. And so we were able to build some leeway. We kind of built each other's strategic activities into each other's plans. So we've been working very closely with Amber in getting the kids in here for not only the swimming, the water safety, but also looking at other areas where we can expand on the ELOP, the after-school funding opportunities, including opening our club to the younger kids. Right now, we're second grade and up, but what we're seeing is that there's a real need for, pre-K and K, which is a feat in itself. So we're trying to get there to meet the need.
Is there another club in Cat City?
There's a smaller club in Cat City. And although we all report into Boys and Girls Club of America, we are kind of all autonomous. We have our own governance and we have our own board.
Okay. There isn't one in Rancho Mirage, I wouldn't assume. With Palm Desert and Indio, and how many are there in the valley?
There's there's 4 under Coachella Valley Boys and Girls Club. There's 1 in Cathedral City, and there's 1 here in Palm Springs.
Are the facilities anything like yours? I mean, you have a fantastic facility. My God.
I know. I'm so glad you noticed. I knew the pictures would do the trick. It has a lot of
all of it, so I know it well.
Yes, we love our facility. It is aging a bit. It needs a little bit of facelift. So we're thanks to Measure J, we are going to fix the pool area and the exterior wall. That's tumbling down with the water damage that we had with the downpour last couple of years. But it depends on the club. Cathedral City is much smaller. I know that Coachella, the Mecca Club is supposed to be state of the art, right? I have yet to be out there. But it's like with any parent, they'll tell you can't have nice things when you have kids. It's the same thing. It can be shiny this week, and then 2 weeks later, you're like, oh wait, it's not so shiny anymore.
Okay, thank
Margaret?
you, Margaret.
Do you have any mental health services for the kids? Any kind of counseling or guidance?
We did. After COVID, we realized that was a real need. So what we have done is we have made some connections. We try to bring in counselors into the club, but what we found was being self-funded was very expensive, and the risk and the liability was just too great for us to bring in the staff. I do have to say, though, we did get certified as a autism center. And so we are starting training, a lot more detailed training on top of what BGCA provides us so that we can be more proficient in those arenas.
Margaret, do you have a volunteer program?
We do, but know that with our volunteers, with any youth development center, we're very selective because we have to run background checks on all of them. And these are not just, one and done. It's repetitive. So there's a cost associated with that. So unless the volunteer has a specific skill set that we need, we're not looking for somebody to come in and just read to the children because they have extra time. It needs to be an expertise, such as a coach for our basketball league or a soccer pro. We have Rosie Casal who comes in here and teaches tennis sometimes. So it's that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Hi, Margaret.
Hello.
Hi. So, obviously knowing you, I know how hard you work, and also should be said how great you are at your job. No, it's true. But I have to tell you, I was out in town about 2 weeks ago, and I was in a store, and I was talking to one of the employees, and the employee was a young mother who has 2 kids, and they live here in Coachella Valley. And randomly, she says to me, but I got to tell you this. I had said, oh, it must be so difficult working, having the 2 kids, and blah, blah, blah. And she said, yeah, but you know what is the saving grace is the Boys and Girls Club. I said, that's so funny. I said, we actually love the Boys and Girls Club and know a lot about it. And I started chatting with her, and her younger child is just now reaching the age that they can go to the club. And she said this child is so excited that they come home every day from school and ask, is today when we're going to go? It's like they are so, because their older sibling goes and tells them how great it is. And that's kind of right there is the best review you ever need of this program, is that the kids are loving it. As a kid, we went to stuff after school and stuff, and I didn't particularly love it. I was bored. And these kids are active, they're educated, they are engaged. And like you said, they're putting down their phones, which, having 4 godchildren, I know how difficult that is to get done. And my question was, and I meant to ask her, but I guess I can ask you now, are there any, because of my background I have to ask, are there any arts programs, like art, music, theater, anything of that nature that for the kids?
Not a single day goes by without art. I can tell you that.
Love
the
it.
music program is a little trickier because we don't, depends on the interest level. We're constantly pivoting based on what the needs are. I can tell you Dance with Miss Lindsay Kaufman brings dance to our club. I'm a dance mom. I took time off from being a banker to bedazzle jerseys for my kids. So dance, performing arts, is so important, right? It develops the mind in both ways. And so that was the one thing that I really focus on. I'm also good friends with, Susan with Desert X. And at one point we had Armando paint the mural on the side of our wall there, and the kids helped him paint it. So we had really good reviews and we had really bad reviews. But it was quite an experience. But we have art every single day.
That's great. And because this is centered around kids, and I think you talked about being bullied when you were younger, and I know I was too, for being different. When you see that happening, if you see it happening with amongst the kids, how is that dealt with, and what are the sort of teaching tools, I guess sort of bringing this back into human rights and existence and how, whether it's somebody with disabilities or somebody who is, just is different than the other children, how is that dealt with?
Well, first of all, there's ratios in regards to number of adults versus kids, right? So the kids, it's one adult per 10 kids. And so there isn't that opportunity. And we do have contracts that the kids have to sign, the parents have to sign. There's incidents reports. There's parent handbooks that they have to agree by. One of the beauty of being a nonprofit that is independent is that we can tell a parent, hey, your kid is acting up, we need to meet, and if this behavior doesn't change, he's going to get suspended. So we actually have a suspension system based on behavior. And I can tell you with the bullying, what happens in school, we hear about it. And then once we hear about it, we have staff meetings where we proactively talk about, oh, you know what, Scott was a bully today, so we need to keep an eye on him because he was bullying Mary, that kind of thing. So it's important. Communication is so important. There isn't bullying is not accepted in this club, and everybody knows that. And there's also tools such as posters from BGCA that are posted everywhere, and we talk about it. And it's all just leading by example. A lot of it has to do with your staff. I can tell you when I came on board, I spent a lot of money turning over my staff, looking for staff that has attended college or attending college that are true role models and know how to lead by example. So that was a very deliberate change that was made by our leadership. But Scott, thank you so much for mentioning that, because that's the whole reason why we want to kind of lower the age so that we can take on the 4 or 5-year-olds. But the whole thing with, they have to be potty trained. That's a big issue. And then we have, using the bathroom, there's a whole bunch of safety procedures that we have to follow. It's like the toilet's too high, the one kid in the bathroom at a time. There's a lot of different factors that we have to take in. But I think we're finally there where we can take on that.
Great.
That's awesome. Margaret, this is Hugo. Pleasure meeting you and hearing all these great things that the club does for kids in our valley. It appears to me from everything that you provide so much value, that the programs are there, that you're really making an impact in these kids' lives and in their parents' lives as well. How come we as a public don't know anything about it? It's like the best kept secret. You said that, but what is the missing piece here? Why is it that people don't know a whole lot more about what your club does?
Well,
yeah, that's a question I wanted to kind of lead.
I can tell you this, for the longest time, I had to really justify the need for a marketing budget, right? Marketing is not something nonprofits really think about, but we need to, because it is a competitive market. We are telling our stories a lot better. I have a very engaged board. And for the first time, we just developed a PR plan. We didn't have a PR person until recently. So now we have a PR plan. We have communication in place, whereas we didn't have that. Before, it was just by word of mouth. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of fine with that, because it's a double-edged sword. The more kids you have, the more money you have to raise to sustain the club. I have to champion the mission, but I have to keep the business afloat. So it's a balancing act, right? If all of a sudden I get 50 more kids in here, I'm going to be in trouble. I'll be writing letters to all of you for a personal donation. That's what I'll be doing.
Do you guys apply for grants, and do you receive grants also?
We do. We received the state grant, the Prop 64 grant. We also received some help through BGCA. But the problem, I shouldn't say the problem, the challenge with grants is that all the local grants, there's a very competitive process now, right? Everybody is going after the same grants, the same funders. And these grants are anywhere from maybe 1,000 to 5,000, at most it's probably 20,000. It's great if you get it, but we're having to, for the sustainability and longevity, we're looking into federal grants. And federal grants warrant a new level of, or a different level of reporting, tracking, and challenges. And we received one 2 years ago for $20,000. And we almost had to, like, jump through fires and, dance on water in order to get the reporting done. So it is something that we have to look into, but I need resources to do that. That's why we're looking for a new DOD right now. Actually, that's a new position we're trying to fill.
Yeah, because it sounds to me like you really need more than just a really good marketing person. You need someone who understands writing grants at for federal opportunities, and help you, report on the impact of those particular grants that you might receive.
Right.
Because again, it really sounds like you are like the best kept secret, and nobody knows what goes behind.
Well, yeah, even working with the school, that's why, to be honest, that's why I was brought on to be the executive director in 2018. The club, since it started in 48, really never focused on fundraising. And the reason being, it received a large endowment. And so, to be honest, it was just going through the endowment thinking, hey, we are a nonprofit, therefore it's okay to live off the endowment. Well, no, nonprofit is just the structure of the business. You still need to make money to pay your staff. So it wasn't until really when I came on board in 2018, and then of course we had COVID, but thank goodness for the PPP loans, we're able to stabilize, and we have a good plan, and we also have a good staff as well as leadership in place now. So we are definitely focused on it. But if there's any ideas in how we can better tell our story so that we are not the best kept secret anymore, please let me know.
Absolutely.
Also, I'll just add that one of my favorite events of the entire year is the Boys and Girls Club Halloween event, and it is fully open to the public, and I tell you, it is amazing. Everybody in the city is there in costume. It's a few days before Halloween. I'll do the commercial for you, Margaret.
Yes, please.
It is honestly like we lock it into our calendar to make sure we're here for it because it's so much fun, and all the money raised goes right back into the club, and they raise some really great funds that night. So anybody who's watching or listening, that's an important night if you want to support.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. And 100% of the proceeds from that night actually go to the club for programming. We get Hilton donates everything, and then usually a board member underwrites the remaining. It's great. And I did want to mention too, we have a sponsorship drive coming up. It's going to be at the Hinton Estate, which is the Clark Gable Estate. The owners are donating that to us, so we're going to be inviting some advocates and some new friends to be there. We call that our tacos and tequila. It's going to be on April 21st, and I'll be sending you all an invitation to come as my guest.
We will certainly be there. Commissioner
I
Horn.
have a question, Margaret. From the human rights perspective, do you have availability of attorneys should these kids have problems because of the political climate? Do you guys get involved with any of that, or is it too touchy?
It's more of a referral process. We don't have, a niche like that. We have attorneys. We have attorneys on retainer through Dave Barron. But in regards to some of these family issues, we try not to get involved in that because it's ever changing. And there's no way we can keep up on it, but we can certainly make referrals.
Have you encountered any kind of difficulty with the federal government, with the goons that are going around? Or
No, but we keep a close eye on it because being here at the club, we see it. Just like with the, Homeland Security with the ICE agent during Christmas, the kids were here full time and they were, ICE was circling the schools. We knew that. So there are safety procedures in place from national as to what we need to do when we call 911, when we call the chief. All that is in place. Now, I can tell you there are horror stories shared to us by other Boys and Girls Club, like the one in Riverside, where they actually had ICE agents knocking or pretending to be building inspectors, trying to get into their club. and they stopped them at their tracks, but they were very aggressive, very assertive, and they said they were there to, to arrest somebody by a certain name, and that person didn't even work there or wasn't even a club member. It appeared to be a volunteer from many years ago. And so through DOJ fingerprinting or whatever, they ended up being at that Boys and Girls Club. But once something like that happens, we all hear about it, and we're ready.
And it also brings up the case of having your cameras ready, any kind of security video should something like that occur, so you have something to fall back on?
We do. We invested in cameras, internal and external cameras last year. You have to remember, Chief Mills was on my board, so it's kind of like we're probably as safe as the bank I used to work with. But we have cameras inside and outside. Like I said, we're just, with the kids, they're the most important thing to us. So their safety is number one. So every quarter, we go through safety drills. Unfortunately, we even have to look at like bomb scares, and mass shooters, all that stuff that we didn't have to think about before. I mean, when I was a kid, I worried about, my bike getting stolen. Well, now it's so complicated that we have a 300-page safety policy just to make sure that we are prepared.
Thank you.
Margaret, do you have any affiliation at all with Big Brothers and Big Sisters?
We don't, because they're kind of their own thing. We do have a lot of collaboration with like the center, the Mosaic Club. I think there was a, I can't remember the name now, but a lot of the LGBTQ centers that we have in the area, we kind of partner with them, because if they have kids that need a place to go, we offer them free membership, because I want them to mix with our kids. We have a larger facility. They can be with our kids, and they can use our pool, they can play ping pong. But those are the collaboration we have. It's more closely with those one-offs instead of other larger, like we don't really collaborate ourselves with the YMCA or anything like that.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Margaret, in addition to this being obviously a public-facing event, and hopefully a lot of folks are going to be watching the recording if they're not joining us today, what would you like to say to the public and how they can get involved in more than just making a donation, and how can they do that? What would you say?
I would like for them to, and all of you, if you haven't been to the club, come see the club. Because once you see it, you're gonna feel it. That was my thing. Like I said, I drove by the club a million times, and it wasn't until I came to the club and I saw the value and what the kids were doing in the club and how they were thriving, it really hits home.
That's awesome. And people can make a donation online, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
And what is the web address, please? For the
Is
public?
bgcps.org, Boys and Girls Club PalmSprings.org. And there is a donation page. And if you are interested in volunteering, let me know. Just send me an email. And my email is, it's mkeung@bgcps.org. Or you can just tell Scott, and Scott will get me in touch.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, you got that. Margaret, on behalf of the commission, I want to thank you so much for your presentation. It was so, so great. And just to learn about all the programming and all the great things that you're doing for not just the children, but for our community. Thank you very, very much.
No, thank you. And I owe Jeremy. Jeremy, drinks on me next time. Thank you so much for getting me hooked up. All right.
So now the public want to know where you're going to go.
Yeah.
Take good care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Margaret.
Margaret. That was awesome. Okay, very good. All right, so we're going to move on to item 9B, which is the Community Service Award. Any updates on the program. And I know Jeremy put together a list, proposed schedule and tasks for April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November.
I'm happy to walk the group through
Would you,
this,
please?
absolutely. And I would like to quick follow-up on Margaret's presentation. I am the winner of the Halloween contest the last 2 years in a row.
That's true. I forgot that.
Wow, badge of honor.
I'm looking for a trifecta this year. I do have, I'll bring pictures next time. Yeah, Scott, you saw us at the last.
It was amazing.
All right, so at a couple of meetings, we've had discussions about the Community Service Awards, about having a very compressed schedule, about taking that a little bit. Scott, you raised a great point at the last meeting that National Community Service Day is in November, so is there a way to perhaps tie it up with that? We talked about what we've done previously. Is it time for a change? So I put together a little bit of a schedule that incorporates some work on the website as well as the ad hoc subcommittee that we put together. And again, this is just for planning purposes, nothing set in stone. I look to you to help guide what the final product will be. But here, if we look at April, we could have a website presentation and work session. So behind the scenes, I could work with the ad hoc subcommittee to figure out what the website should look like for the nomination period. So I'm no web expert, so I'll definitely have to look for help in, you know, what should a website look like? What type of information do we want to gather? We've already gone through and figured out what the application questions are going to be. So it's a matter of how to market it or package it on the website. So in May, beginning advertisements, so pushing out the, hey, the nomination period is coming. We can utilize Engage Palm Springs. We can make an announcement at a council meeting. We can send out notice to newspaper editors. Application period, a couple weeks in May, May 11 to May 22. What I didn't know was how long the application period was in the past. And I don't, does anyone remember offhand how long it was?
I believe it started in early November, and it was run by the entirety of the month of November. No?
I can't remember.
It was the entirety of the full month of November, if I'm recalling this correctly.
So we could stretch out the May 11, or maybe even start it a little bit earlier to try and get 3 or 4 weeks out of May, but we're here in a couple, closer to a month.
That was the application period because, again, the goal was to encourage as many applications as we can possibly
Certainly.
receive. And not limit it to, if you miss the deadline, you're out of luck. So yeah, that possibly could be extended a little
Longer,
bit.
okay. Then after that, we have the subcommittee getting together and doing the initial review of the applications. So the prior conversations we had was the subcommittee will look at the applications, vet them, and narrow it down to a smaller group that we would bring back to the entire HRC that would review it in open session. I looked at prior awards, and it looks like for the last year, or the last time it was done 2 years ago, 8 awards were given. The 3 years before that, 7 awards, and the year before that, 6 awards. So it looks like we're somewhere between 6 and 8 seems to be the consistent number we see year after year.
That seems right.
So then in June, I have that we would bring back to the commission where we would kind of vet the entire package that was brought from the subcommittee to narrow it down to actual recipients. July, I have as a buffer month in case we've gone over or missed something, as well as notifying award recipients to make sure that they're going to accept the award, that they're willing to participate in the award ceremony. We're dark in August. In September, I have it as a planning month, plaque design and review. Again, I'm not the artsy guy, so I'll need some help in figuring out,
Yeah.
what does the plaque look like? And just because we did it
Chris,
this way.
This always
before-
felt rushed, like a lot of pressure to get those plaques produced.
So
Yeah.
here we really have September as plaque planning, October as plaque fabrication and event planning, and then November, do we want to have, we need to have larger discussion. Does it happen on November 4th? Do we try and tie it with a council meeting date? The surrounding council dates are October 28th and November 23rd. Those are the 2 dates. So it's unfortunately not on November 4th, but kind of around there. So this I present to the commission for review. mean, generally, do we like stretching it out like this and tying it with the November date? It's different than what we've done before, but perhaps now's the time for different.
Very good. Who's in the subcommittee? Scott, you're in the subcommittee, right?
Yes.
With Carlotta and Malachi?
That was Bobby.
Bobby? Just the three of you?
We have four. I think you would be on it.
Bobby, you and I.
Yes.
Oh, so it's not Carlotta, it's Beverly. Great.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course.
Yeah,
So-
Malachi, I did some double checking and we didn't break rules because it's a subcommittee, a specific subcommittee, so Malachi, we said could join as well, so it's the four of you without breaking.
Oh,
a
great.
issue.
Good.
That's great. Okay.
What are some of your first impressions about this particular time?
I have a question.
Yes.
So have you decided on a process to vote on the candidates? How are you going to do that?
No, I don't think any of us have gotten that far yet. I think we're still trying to figure out when this is going to happen, and then we'll sort of
Okay.
build out. I know there was a suggested process at one point, right?
I came up with a formula with
Yeah, I think-
Carlotta, and then I was excommunicated.
Which is never.
I think we'll
You
have
guys
that,
had one.
we'll have that opportunity to review what you guys did.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
it was, you know, you put some work into it and it was very
Okay.
valid, so.
I have all
But
those
we haven't
notes.
managed to get far enough to figure out exactly when we're gonna do anything, so
Good.
we're not there yet.
I think when the subcommittee does get together, I can join those meetings and go through the work that you
Yeah.
and Commissioner Rinky did. And I have all that scoring criteria that you put together and some notes of some feedback that we got along the way.
Okay, good.
Not excommunicated,
No, it's fine, it's okay.
a participant from afar.
Yes.
In the past, when you discussed the candidates at the meeting, let's say at the June meeting is when we would possibly do it. In a way, it's public, so people know who the
No, the way this happened, Scott, was the nominees, the applications will be received and the selection would be conducted. And then the meeting, the public facing meeting would be like candidate one, candidate two, candidate three. And is any commissioner have particular issues with these nominees?
That's interesting.
Without
Okay.
saying,
Without saying who they are.
without saying their actual name, because
Okay.
you have to give them the benefit of accepting or not accepting.
Well, that's what I was worried about. Yeah.
And if it's out there in the public and they say, you know, this person or this organization
Yeah.
will be considered to receive, and they say no,
Yeah.
Well, that happened, right?
Yeah.
that's an issue. No,
There
that
was
didn't
pressure.
happen. That didn't happen.
There was
And
pressure from certain council people.
But-
Okay.
That was a-
We're not
We're not
going,
gonna
we're
go
not
there.
going to
that
go
was a
there.
whole
Got it.
different-
But I think there's, my worry was that if somebody was on the slate and let's say something did get brought up and they were removed, that's embarrassing for that person. I wanted to avoid that. So this is good to hear. I'm glad that that's the process, is sort of a code name, you know?
The sooner the final nominees, candidates to receive an award, the sooner they agree to accept it, and we have the date for the actual event and the
Yeah.
logistics and everything, the sooner that the communications department from the city can make the broadcast
Uh-huh.
to media and to the public and say, these are the selected nominees, et cetera, et cetera. And if it happens months in advance, that's even better. Because it really garners more public support, right? And that's what we want.
Yeah, and looking at the November date, November 4th, a Wednesday, I actually like if it's not a council meeting date, only because then with the one that I attended, which I loved, it was in the council chambers, it sort of felt very official, and it took time. And I think if it was on the same day as a council meeting, I think we'd annoy everybody because it would take up a lot of time. And, I think it's better as its own special event.
Yeah. My recommendation there would be to schedule it for the time of our November meeting, the HRC November meeting. And we can certainly make a mention of, that it's also following perhaps the National Day of Community Service observed.
Oh, I like it on that day, but okay. I thought it would be extra special to do it on that day, don't you think?
We could call a special meeting just for it,
Yeah,
as long as it doesn't coincide with council meeting
or other commissions.
or other commissions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it happens on November the 4th, we can certainly call a special meeting for that.
You could vote to change your November date to November 4th. So that your, be a rescheduled November meeting to November 4th, which is a Wednesday.
That sounds
You can do that.
really
So
good.
that you can have actual business that day and conclude your business with community service awards.
Yeah, let's do that.
I like that, yes. Do we need to put a motion and vote on this recommendation, or we're just talking about it?
Yes, I'll bring it to a future agenda item.
Let's put it on the
next
agenda
month.
so that we can take a vote as a commission.
I want to make sure as many commissioners as possible can be there.
Yes, yes.
Because our meeting would be the 9th as of right now.
So we would move it to the 4th.
So we'd move it to the 4th.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't know. I guess, again, I apologize. I always think with like a media brand, but I think there's a great tie-in there, right? It seems like that's an amazing opportunity to put those two things together and do it on that day that is designated nationally for it.
And yes, I would love it if we could still do it at council chambers.
Yeah.
Just like we had in the past. Yeah, I love that.
And there is a budget or some money or something to get the plaques done, or is that yeah, okay.
I wonder if we're pushing a little bit too much heavy duty in May. I mean, there has to be an amount of time for people to respond. And I think maybe, you already said you're going to expand that, so maybe if we push everything down a little bit more.
I agree.
But July, maybe the July meeting is the one that we have everybody look at who's at the numbers, so that then we can, do we notify the people then in the time that we're out in August? We can notify people, and in September we'll know who wants to, who will do it.
Yeah, because if we present in July, right, if we push it down a month, we could notify directly after the meeting. They could be notified
Right.
that week. So then that gives it that nice cushion. And then we have August for them to
It gives them a whole month to decide if they really want to do this.
sweat it out in the heat to think about
And
it.
also, when it becomes public, then it's also time for everybody else to
Yeah.
chime in. And
When we do communicate with,
hopefully they will not do this year. But
with the nominees who have been selected, it's really important for us to have down dates, times, and everything, because some of them like to invite their families and
Oh,
friends,
absolutely.
and this is important.
That's a great point. So if we were going to do the 4th, a Wednesday, is it possible to do, like, I know our meetings are 5 o'clock, but is it possible to maybe do like a 6 because of people coming from work and their families want to come? And
The former meetings were always taking place at 5:30. 5:30 was kind of the beginning of each and every meeting. The reason why we kind of pushed to 5 is because we wanted to finish our meetings a little bit
Yeah.
sooner, take care of our own business. But it can go back to 5:30.
you mean for that one? I would say 5:30 or 6, just so people have a chance to get there if they are working, I believe we'll probably have nominees who are currently employed.
Yep.
This looks good, though.
looks good.
Very good.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Perhaps we can satisfy both concerns here and have the meeting start at 5:30, but we'll be able to do regular business between 5:30 and 6, and this award ceremony start at 6.
6.
Great.
Yes, because we still have to do
Sure.
the whole formal agenda, votes and things.
So if we're happy with this, I'll take it from here and get started on the website. I'll reach out to the subcommittee to get a date or some dates together where we can review some templates and some language.
And will you hold that November 4th? Can you ask for it on the calendar?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for your input.
That's great.
Good.
All right, so shall we move to item 9C, which is regarding future agenda items? The floor is open. Anything you'd like to see included for?
I've been thinking about a few things. It's kind of, from a human rights perspective, we're a small town, and we don't really have major issues coming up, thank God, but there might be. So I'm just trying to think of how to discuss human rights in different scenarios. One was public schools, maybe have a guest come and talk about if there are issues, human rights issues, or at least get to know an official there or something. There's also the restaurant and hotel unions. Now, I don't know if you want to get that political, but we could invite them to just discuss if there's any human rights issues. They might, I mean, it's also them getting acquainted with us. And these are, we do, we have a strong industry here, which is restaurants and hotels. So that's another suggestion.
There are a couple of associations, right, for small boutique hotels and
then there's the union, and then there's a couple of different ones.
The restaurant workers or
Yes.
yeah. So it'd be interesting for them to get to know us also.
so maybe invite them to make a presentation, what they do and how do they handle potential human rights issues.
Well, you have to imagine that there are workers who are dealing with what's going on now with federal agents, and how is that affecting it? And, yeah.
I think that's a really good angle. For the school, Commissioner Horn, I think we need to reach out to Palm Springs Unified School District and find out who might come and present to us how do they handle bullying and
Yeah.
other kinds of issues.
We can ask Ellen.
Those are great suggestions, Commissioner Horn. Yep.
Think- Trying to think.
And any others that we haven't covered?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna sort of pitch something to the group. I was thrilled, by the way, to see that we now have a plan for the awards. I feel like that's an actionable item. I love that. And just thinking in terms of other actionable items and sort of thinking about, taking note of things besides, I feel very blessed, as you just said, that we live here in a city that is very aware of LGBTQ plus human rights and causes. And I kind of, as a person of that community, also feel it's our duty, because we are specially protected in the city, to look beyond our own community. And I was looking out at events I was going to, and our fellow commissioner, Malachi, had posted some things on their Instagram stories about being a person who needs ADA assistance at events and things, and running into a lot of issues in various parts of town with different businesses and organizations. And I had called Malachi and discussed this and said I would love for us to maybe work on, with Malachi's leadership in this, because he has a lived experience, of really developing some sort of plan or guidance, I guess is a better word, of reminding businesses and reminding places in town about what is legally required, but also how to be more open and welcoming to guests with disabilities. And now this also includes people who have hearing disability, of people who wear hearing aids. I was working this weekend hosting the Cathedral City LGBT plus days, and it was great. But what I loved is that they had sign interpreters there the entire time, and every video had subtitles. But I've been to many events where they don't, and where they don't have subtitles. And if you need someone to be a sign interpreter, you have to have a guest request it instead of just having it. And I know Malachi spoke on their stories about, not wanting to go places, not wanting to go to certain events because they know how difficult it is to get around as being somebody who is wheelchair bound. And so I just got my wheels turning, like those are all falling under our purview of human rights, that somebody who is needs accessibility and has issues with that in our city, that is something we could actually be very helpful with. And it's not, as MJ, as you and I say, it's not political, it's not this, it's really the basis of what we do. And I would love, and I did talk to Malachi, and I think Malachi might have sent in some comments about this, but would love to work on that and have us all work on it and give that directive to the city to maybe come up with a new guidance on how to step it up a bit and make sure these people feel welcome.
It's the essence of human rights.
Yes, I agree.
Really, and I think it's a great idea. I think it's really good.
So, summarizing, you'd like to see this as an agenda item for us to specifically talk about how to respond and what kinds of recommendations the commission could make, not just to the city. We know that city events usually have sign language interpreters,
Yes.
most city events,
They're-
or at least all that I have attended.
They're very good about that.
Yes.
And I should point out that our council liaison, Councilmember Garner, is also very passionate about this and very aware. And so we would have I would assume we'd have 5 sympathetic ears on the council, but I think this is again, it's a non-political thing. It's the basis of human rights that every citizen in our community should be able to access every single part of our community.
I
And
think the commission should always remember that.
yeah,
We should have our blinders on and say, human rights, and, because it's really important.
I agree.
Fully agree, completely agree. So that could be another agenda item.
Great.
Councilmember Gardner, hi.
Hi. Thanks, Scott, for that idea and for the shout out. I think that's great. And I think that's a wonderful way for the commission to be able to present something to council, because obviously there's always things that we can do to improve in terms of the city, or like you said, presenting resources to other businesses or folks in the community. But just a plug while we're on this issue, there's this really great book. When I did the Mayor's Book Club, we read it. It's called Disability Visibility. It's a series of essays by people with different abilities and experiences. Some are heartbreaking, some are really joyful, because again, that's something that has to be remembered. Just because somebody has different abilities or disabilities doesn't mean that they don't have a joyful life too. So I really appreciated the care that was done to make that collection of short stories, or not short stories, short essays rather. So Disability Visibility by the late Alice Wong, who was an incredible disability rights activist. Definitely check it out. It's still probably one of the best books that I've ever read.
Great suggestion. Thank you so much for that. Awesome. So that's a great, definitely a very important item that we can include in the agenda. Any other?
Is there somebody that is, I'm trying to think who's like a disability specialist? I know that could talk to us about this. I know I'm trying to think of a guy. When I was with the Office on Aging for years, there was a guy who his whole life was basically focused on that, but I've forgotten what his name is. But is there anybody that?
Yeah, it's our fellow commissioner, Malachi.
Can Malachi make a presentation on it?
Yeah,
That would be great.
with talking to them, I learned that they actually have a business that they go and they help and
they do that, okay.
educate. Yeah, so we have a wonderful gift of Malachi, so it would be an amazing match.
Maybe
I'm
we can
trying to
ask
think about the
Malachi
deaf
to give us
community.
to give the commission and the public. That would be a wonderful spotlight on Malachi struggles.
Are we interested in maybe inviting Edison and have them explain what their policy is for people that can't pay their bills? Whatever, do they treat minorities? They're not going to say they treat minorities less than, but they do have a plan, I assume, about a tiered payment system for people that can't afford, electrical or water, or are we interested in maybe delving into that area?
SCE does have a care program, and I believe Gas Company also has a similar program.
Should we invite them in to explain it?
What are your thoughts, Scott?
I'm running it in my head. I know, I love the idea behind it. I'm just running the idea of how we tie into it, I guess. I get that is all part of human rights, housing and healthcare, and
Yeah, they should explain it to us. We're just curious.
yeah.
I'm not sure there's any actionable items in it.
It's
There's
not
really nothing we
a
can do.
discussion. It's probably not a discussion, but it could become a presentation by some of these agencies.
Let me see if I can get ahead of this. I think through the city, there might already be some programs available that we administer here in-house for families that are unable to meet those types of obligations. So let me see what we do here. I may be able to bring the commission something so that we don't have to bring in Edison or the gas company. Let me see what we have
Okay.
first.
It'd be an educational thing, since we don't really know what the process is.
And I have a question. Does the city of Palm Springs have a disability specialist?
I don't think so.
No, there's not a specialist.
No.
Thank you.
That's interesting.
Just for more context on that, we worked with, we're not a certified autism city, but we're just one level down from that. So we do things in this realm, but there is not a designated person on our staff who only works on this issue, if that helps.
Thank
It
you.
does. Very good. Any further suggestions for future agenda items? All of them great, by the way. I think, looking at the few months ahead of us, we certainly have lots of great ideas in line. If none, I would then move the agenda to item number 10 for additional member comments and requests.
I have something I'd like to point out. In the last meeting, Martha's Village presented a percentage of their caseload by, ethnic, percentages. And for me, this was really important. And I think we should, the demographics is what we should always be aware of. How many people are being served, what their ethnic background is, all of that. So I was really pleased to see their numbers. Not their numbers from a point of view of where the services are being applied, but I mean, the city does, I assume the city has a breakdown of ethnic populations, right? I mean, I assume they know how many, Latinos, black people, white people, that kind of thing. And Martha's Village really did do a job of presenting us with what their populations are and the percentages. And so I'm going to hold this as a premise for me being on the commission, because this is really important. Because we need to always remember what the demographics are, because that's why we're here. Anyway, so I just wanted to point that out.
I believe a lot of this data is available through the census websites.
I made a note, it says census data, so I was gonna pull that and send it out to the group.
Interesting.
I believe, Commissioner Horn, that there is data available that is updated regularly through census.gov, in which they tell you if 45,000 registered residents in the city of Palm Springs, how many of them are considered white, Hispanic, black, through census.
Yeah.
So a lot of this data is already available for the public.
I'll retrieve it and send it out to the
Please,
commission.
I think that would be good to have. But I think it's a really good point. And notwithstanding the presentation that Martha's Village did for the commission and for the public, used their own data collection based on the populations that they serve. This is the folks that come and use Martha's Village services. So it's kind of subset of not just the entire population of Palm Springs, but it's the population that they serve and they provide their services. But nevertheless, was really eye-opening to see, how they tracking every person that come into the doors of the navigation center, and the triaging of these folks that are looking to get access to the services, and also thinking about the support that the city provides to the navigation center and the additional funding that will probably go to help these services further. So that was really good.
I also just wanted to comment on something I had brought up a long time ago, and I sort of wish we had acted on it at the time, but I don't think there's going to be a lapse of having to deal with it, and that was providing information and resources to people dealing with ICE agents and within our community. We saw it happen in a large sweep at one point, and now it's still happening a lot, and it's not getting reported on as much. And I remember Councilmember Gardner said that on the supervisor's website there are great resources. So I know that we feel like we're finally getting going with the web stuff for us. So once we do have that page up, I would really, really love it, even if it's just a link to the supervisor's website, if we could have that and be able to point to it and say, you know, here are the simple resources, you know, where you can know your rights, know what you can do, whether you are a citizen or you are undocumented, you can know what to do in that situation. I think it is important. We still see it happening. And as a Human Rights Commission, I think it's our job to be able to provide that information.
Okay, great. We agree. Before we move to staff liaison comments, is this a good time to bring the upcoming events?
Yes, it is.
So we have two upcoming events the commission engages pretty much every year. One is PS1 picnic in April. Last year, it was Commissioner Rinke, Commissioner Soja, myself, and MJ and husband came to help. It's a wonderful, wonderful kickoff to our spring activities, and members of the community join. We have a table this year as well,
It's actually March 21st.
March 21st. Mark your calendars.
We've registered for a table. We need to locate the banner and the awning.
I believe Commissioner Rinke and
Okay.
her husband kept it in their garage. We have a little bit of literature that might need updating,
Okay,
and we essentially just are there to greet every person that comes and asks about, what does this Human Rights Commission do? Right? So this is a perfect opportunity to educate the public.
Will we be passing anything out, like a pen or something? And so many of the booths pass something out.
That's a good question. I don't know. Last year, we did give like Post-its and probably, I think like pens or something from the city.
let me see what swag we have available or.
Whatever
can
swag is available.
Pull together.
I think we need to have one or two things we can pass out just to get people to stop and talk with us.
Yeah.
They want.
We were giving us a very small little piece of literature that explained the commission's mission and how do we engage with the public and so on and so forth. That may need a little updating, maybe, if that's still available.
And maybe
If not,
the
just
city
still
pen-
something to give to the
City
public.
pen along with it.
Let me see what I can find.
Would it be possible to do something to introduce the community awards to the people visiting our booth, saying, okay, we're looking for candidates for the community awards?
Maybe when you're engaging with, if you're gonna be there this year, and all of us who might be there this year, when you're engaging, talk about, we do carry community service awards, we're working on dates, we're working on inviting the public. Fairly soon, there will be information on the city's websites.
But what about having something there that says, if you know somebody who's really, done a lot for the community, would you write it down and send it to us? Sort of a way to.
Well, without the website being up and running, because that's the vehicle, right? You want people to go to the website and be able to complete an application, submit an application, dates for the application, opening date, closing date. That's part of the logistics that are still evolving.
But that's bureaucratic. I'm talking more about
What's
a person that's right in front of you. Instead of saying, we have a website, go there, there's saying, do you know anybody who's really very important to the community? Please write it down on, maybe we should have a clipboard or something, I don't know. Just because that's also a personal thing instead of sending them to a website. More of a eye-to-eye contact with the person type thing.
I think if we can get working relationship with the Palm Springs Post and things of that nature and get the information out would be a much better way. I noticed when I was working the booth last year, people just want to know who we were.
Right, yeah.
And then on top of that, to say, hey, by the way, do you have somebody, we might be throwing too much at them at one time when they really just want to know who we are. And then down the road, through media, we can let people know, hey, we would like to know who you recommend.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it's,
That makes sense.
But your idea was good, but I think
Yeah.
it might be throwing too much at them at one time.
Particularly since we don't have the backup in place.
Yeah.
right, okay.
We could have we could have a fun poster that just says like start thinking, and it's like human rights. Who would you nominate? And it says human rights blah 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 award. And if the date is confirmed, we put the date, and that's all you put. And they'll say, what is that about? Well, we have an award. You'll be hearing about it in the press, and start thinking who from our community you would nominate. Could be. I mean, that isn't. It's kind of a good idea to
Just simple.
yeah start laying the groundwork a little bit. I don't know if we have the budget to make a poster, but.
I hesitate that my response keeps being, let me look into it. I can talk to the communications team and see if there is a way. I don't know the answer. Is there a way to do a coming soon community service awards or be on the lookout for? Let me ask the team and see what we can come up with, if anything, before that date.
Sure. Something simple that just gives a basic idea to put in their head so they can think about it instead of trying to make a decision right there and then saying, you know, we're going to have an award. Think about it and let us know.
Just think about it. Think about who you might
Who
nominate.
you would nominate? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Councilmember Gardner? She just came on camera.
Thank you. I appreciate you looking out for me when I come on camera. I try not to butt in too much. I can pay from my council account. I can pay for a poster if you need that.
Thank you.
So just I think it's a good idea to start advertising that at the event. So I can work with Jeremy on that.
That's great.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Oh, there you go. So that's 1 PS, the picnic. And again, it's just a fantastic community event. And I invite you to be there just to, even if it's for a little bit. Food is provided, so you all get a nice little ticket for a meal and basically just have fun. The second event that is coming up soon and for which we have already signed, right, is the Harvey Milk Diversity Breakfast that takes place at the Convention Center. And this year, the date for that event is when?
The 14th, I think.
So Jeremy, do we have a table with other city officials?
We do not yet have a table. I'm still working on the funding mechanism for that one.
Sorry, what was the date?
14th of what month?
I'll tell you in just a minute.
Oh,
'cause
okay.
I do have a poster. I ran into Ron Sylvester, who now runs, well, he's one of the producers, as you know. And he was like, hey, are you guys gonna be there this year? And I'm like, we're always there. So.
I have a table, I just don't know who's gonna be, but I know I'll have a few seats available.
Wonderful, great. The diversity breakfast is
May-
Thursday, May the
May
14th.
14th.
There we go.
May 14th.
Yeah, that sounds more right.
You know, so I don't know how you work it, but I could pay for a table for the city to have, but I don't know if that's kosher or not. I don't want to get
Do a little research on
excommunicated
this
from
one. No, I
another.
appreciate that. Let me-
Last year, we had a table just for us.
No, we were sharing it with other public officials, I mean, city officials. It wasn't just HRC.
Okay, I thought we had one, and we were sharing a second table, no?
No, it was a table that was shared with
We will
officials.
figure something out.
Pay for it.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean,
Well, I didn't make it last year, but I remember the year before, it was your table. that we signed.
yeah, well, we had a few commissioners on it 2 years ago, and then you were there last year, but it's very dear to my heart. I really
Oh,
love
God,
it.
it's such a beautiful
It was
event.
nice of that.
Are you going to do a little emceeing this year?
I am out of town. It's the last day of a vacation for us.
Because you always do the ask for the
I know.
donations.
I may have to cut our vacation a day short. Let me talk to the husband real nicely and see what happens.
It's a phenomenal event, and we always end up in tears.
Yeah.
which is great. I think those are the two upcoming events that I wanted to highlight. I don't know that anyone else has any other events that would like to introduce, no? All right. Now, having heard none, then we can move on to close this strong with staff liaison comments on item 11.
Staff liaison has no comments. Mine were all on a couple of agendized items, so I'm good, but thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, great. So let's move to adjourn the meeting, shall we? Yes?
I move.
I move, a second, I need a second, okay. We're moving to adjourn the meeting. The commission will adjourn to a regular scheduled meeting, scheduled on Monday, April 13, 2026. Thank you very much. Thank you, public. Good night.